Okay, so for people that are watching my stream, I'm muted in their server. I'm mostly here just to spectate and watch and see what they're doing. So I'm staying muted in the server so they won't be able to hear anything that I'm saying. But people here will still be able to hear what they're talking about.
Close armor. No.
Charger got me.
Shot. I got shot.
It's not right now, Charger.
I.
Charger doing left.
It's 2v2. There's. I forget what that.
Moments like that, when he knows he sees he's at a disadvantaged fight, he should have been calling for help rather than just stating who was with him.
Underneath.
Yep, here.
I traded with Slasher. Charger top left. Don't peek him. You guys are peeking really hard. Okay.
Alright, baller. The one left. Zap got me. Left it. Arc. Can't get shot.
Not saying where the charger is. Even though Char could obviously see where the charger is, he didn't call out charge location.
Nice. Stay safe if you can. I almost have armor. Are they bomb rushing? Okay,
Behind conveys a wrong bit of information. He says they're behind, but really they're just on their plat.
Charger's left.
There's one on the right wall. Throw it. Oh, bombers. I got him. It's fine. They're bomb rushing. They got me immediately.
Okay, Mike's using missiles for callouts.
Charger's still in the grids.
Flash right side, got him.
I'm gonna push Charger.
Okay, conveying their.
I don't know where K. Oh, K shot's on court. I got him. It's fine. Peek, I don't know where you're gonna go. Let me know if you need armor.
Okay, I'm just hanging around for now.
Okay. I'll throw bombs from bottom left. Charger top left.
Halfway to ball.
If they, oh wait, that's low.
Two of them top right, two of them top right.
I'm gonna counter.
I'm done. Watch. Going up. Right side two.
Got that.
Watch, get shot.
Getting double team? Any help?
Yeah, I'll come out.
Okay.
I messed up. I kill.
Yeah, I traded. Good hold.
Alright, a call like that where he asks that he needs help, that's the kind of thing he needs to be doing.
Wait, actually, I don't know where they went.
One of them fell.
Nice. That ball.
I'm half armor. Just wait up the bomb rush. Okay, shot on spinner. Two like left. Okay, I'm armoring. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, armored.
Another charger left. Or weak.
There's one under.
Yep.
Oh, well, they're backed up.
I got push back.
Charger on the left.
I got slosh.
I got zap.
Been around. Get shot on me right zone.
He's being
Nice. Good flip.
Get charger.
One under mid.
He's gonna fight.
I got him. Oh, it's fine.
Oh, bucket.
Where? Oh. In the they're in the court. Oh,
That's gonna be right.
Use specials.
top left again. Watch out. Charger.
I got one.
Nobody was at the plat with him.
I got him.
He pushed up alone.
Yeah, I'm just
Something like that where he calls for a push up. Somebody needs to be
I got Charger.
like okaying it. People need to be sharing that they're
It's
in
just
on this
options,
push or not.
Well, actually,
He committed into their plat with a special and had no backup.
In a minute since I played brush, sorry, I'm a little bit out of it.
It's okay. I just feel like if we have a lot of like, just my personal note is we had like 3 or 4 specials and we kind of hesitated a bit to move. Like it worked out, but we could go a little faster.
You mean their court?
I mean, on defense too, we had 4 specials and like we waited until like another 5 seconds before going with them, and they in that time.
Okay, so
I mean, we did use. Oh, what? Sorry.
So the point you're talking about, nobody was using specials because there was already a bomb rush on our court. If you'd used armor, you would have lost it to a special they're using just to keep you in place. Mike couldn't missile because they wouldn't have assisted in pushing anyway. I would say one main thing is there was a couple times, Chara, where you were taking fights or fights turned into like a 1v2, and you would just stay in a fight, or you would say like, oh, there's two over here. In situations like that, you need to call for help. You need to tell people, okay, there's two on me now. Can someone come rotate this way or assist me here? Trying to take a fight and just saying, oh, there's two here now. You should be calling for assistance. And then you bomb rush their court. You said, let's move up, use specials. You started your bomb rush in their court and then jumped down. If no one responds to you, like nobody said anything, you jumped into their court by yourself with a bomb rush and died. No one moved up with you. I would say if there's a call like that, people need to be saying whether or not they're going to be assisting in that, because you just ended up going in alone and dying.
There was a point in time where you were in a 2v1 and I tried to help you, but you died to the charger.
Pika, where do you go with brush here?
I generally just try to like flank either far right or far left and just see if I can bully the back line.
Okay, because I was gonna maybe go top right, but
He's probably
I
gonna
think
run
I can go.
bamboo, so
I'll
Generally
go-
right side, just because that's like
Yeah,
pretty fast along the grates and people aren't used to that.
I'll try flanking left because they probably are gonna have like tweezers. Yes.
alright, me and Bio will go right
Okay.
then. I'll
I'm
just
just
paint,
gonna go left and like.
I'll
be
paint
on-
zone from
We'll have a
snipe.
lot of flank pressure.
I'm gonna start right side.
If you go snipe, I'll just go forward just to armor. Ew, they have leader.
Yeah, they have a lot of range.
Yeah, you're gonna have to missile spam them, I guess. I'm half to armor already.
Alright, I crossed over right side.
Yeah.
They're flank the leader.
I'm up really close to armor now.
The leader's looking at me.
Yeah, I'm on him.
Nice.
On him.
Nice.
It's like green.
I pushed CDS
All
left.
left, all
There's
left.
two of them
Yeah.
looking at me right now.
Push
On the grates.
I'm
On
gonna
the
go
grates.
Grades
I turned
conveys
to you.
nothing.
Along on these people. Squeezer's weak. Got squeezing. Kinda here.
Nice.
Top left.
Okay.
Jump for you later. He's watching.
Charger popping.
Okay.
They're both left.
Backing out was absolutely the correct call there. Shouldn't have don't continue to commit the.
Yeah, just
Queen's
get,
gonna go this way.
just get specials.
I'll go top right. I'll go top right.
Okay.
I got one.
I'm not sure, just the one on that corner.
They're
Right
the
here.
ones at the moment.
Either watching zone.
They're all left. You mute.
Almost have missiles.
What?
I was coming from left side.
Well, I was just feigning. There's nowhere else.
I'm sharking left.
Squeezer's in middle with bubbles.
Got one. Has supposed to be left.
Missile 2 on their snipe.
Let's speed this.
Ooh.
Left on two. Nice. Nice.
Yeah, man. It's just leader. Just play behind a wall. He can't do anything.
Paint over zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
They're jumping left side.
Oh, what the
Oh.
fuck?
Nice.
Oh.
Okay.
Wait, what happened?
God, my like speed sucks
You
right
would
now.
get painting zone with leader shots and.
Oh. Never mind. That's kind of forehead of me.
Leader paint thick.
Okay, there wasn't really anything. They played everything well. The only thing, like, it's not even really my place to praise Pika for the the decision making of just backing away from that tent. He could have taken the fight, sure,
Watch one of us.
but knowing when that a fight is not worth investing into anymore.
Just run the same thing, I guess. They're running the same thing.
They're probably gonna adapt to the opening though.
Should we change it up then?
I mean, I might still try to cross right really quickly unless they're like really watching it.
I'm saying we still do it, but just I'll be more prepared to stall rather than take a kill.
Yeah, same.
I'm just gonna do the same thing,
I
cause
mean, if power is walking both flanks,
yeah.
the others are looking at us.
Just
and-
call.
You guys
call.
can pick zone and we'll ping with armor.
I can't speak.
I'll
fuck,
just wait for the
okay.
armor.
Just call for help. Half to armor ready.
I cross right again.
Be there again, they're not looking
Yeah,
at me.
he's looking at me.
They're watching you.
There's a tent
Okay.
in mid.
He rotated. I'm coming from the other side.
He's flicking around.
Armor
Yep.
now.
You force him to mid.
So yeah,
Eyeball in a
okay,
second. Eyeball.
something like that. And
I'm flipping him.
the
Oh, fuck.
positioning of a charger is like that
Nice.
Pika calling out that he forced the charger into mid is actually really big, because something like an E-leader's positioning needs to be respected, and just by that E-leader having been moved is enough to call, like, okay, the charger is now in a different position.
Yeah, he's on the left. He's like kind of watching mid.
Louise in CDS.
Okay. They're watching me.
Yell
Got
me
over.
from
I got
okay,
spell cheese.
actually, yeah.
Got 2. They're switching tent left. Leader got me, wow. They're bubbling left mid.
Wait it out, wait it out.
Okay,
You're still top left.
I'm gonna.
he called that he was missing the charger, but didn't alarm anyone of where the charger was. Regardless if the charger is in an irrelevant position, just like what I mentioned before, the positioning of a charger needs to be respected to the point where they just need to be aware of.
It's fine. Back up if you need.
Yeah, Scream is our side now.
Yeah. I don't
He's
know where.
ulting.
Holy shit. He's just sitting top left.
I'm gonna help Clint with kind of CDS.
CDS here on the pillow.
Watch out for later. He's gonna jump.
I'm in the missile 3.
Okay,
think we
Chara
should just
comes
go
in,
to
Nick recognizes that Mike needs
Yeah,
help.
go right and flank right.
Nice.
I popped bubble. I was following left.
Bomber's
That's
a
my
shield.
mid. Leader popped me. I'm on tent.
Should have called for armor before using his bomb rush, just to
They could
ensure
just-
that it would continue.
Yeah.
Thankfully,
So-
We
Side
don't,
was
oh, they're
already
still on their
in.
side.
Yeah, he got me.
CDS on the snipe. I got it.
Screw's bubbling. For left bridge.
Oh, okay. I hit one.
he needs to back out. He needs to not take that fight.
I got some
There's
He's
like 6
incredibly
bubbles right
lucky.
now.
Tent's weak.
The leader and CDS are from middle. They're just gonna
I'm
grab
at missile.
Hence, really weak.
Got
I'm,
tent.
I'm just holding zone. I can't really fight with leader watching me.
Okay, they need to back
It's just
up.
us. Hold zone as long
Except
as you
that
can.
it's fun.
fine.
No.
Actually,
Oh. In a situation like that, a call like just keep the zone as long as you can.
Screw's just flanking left again.
I don't agree with that. Having map positioning and like staying alive is more worth than the few points they would get by risking their lives to keep the zone painted.
He's moving, right? He gave up snipe. They have beacons left mid.
Okay, they armored as he bomb rushed this time.
He jumped out. Oh no, he jumped in.
Missile 3.
I got
Okay.
him.
Screw's got me left. Yeah.
Beauty.
Uh,
They have a
Oh,
beacon behind you. Chara. Okay.
Yeah.
Tent behind their shield.
Oh.
Sorry, I thought I was under the ramp.
I'm gonna have bomber, but it might die.
I got 10.
Nice.
Got some.
Oh. Nice, Mike.
Get zone.
I'm not sure someone's behind us. Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they're
We're behind middle.
I'm gonna go around.
I'll get him.
Broke my beacon.
No, I'm helping you. You're not. Okay. Well.
Got tent.
He's one.
Okay, I think way too much. I mean, they knew that the dually was behind them, but
Scooter's definitely gonna.
they had so much focus on someone that's out of position. They just need to be aware that
When I
he's
get
in their
armored,
side, and that's all you really
They're
need.
bubbling.
I wanna
Have multiple people chase him. Like you, the fact that he's out of position like that should be more than enough to just disregard his existence.
I'm probably dead.
Calling out that someone is out of position is important, especially if they're like on your side of the map. Just saying like, the dually is in our spawn. It tells someone, it tells your teammates like, yeah, we have someone. One of them is out of position, and they're behind us. So just keep an eye on. But trying to chase him
Got him.
Just-
Just leaders.
isn't worthwhile because he's already out of position and isn't going to contribute anything. He has to try and commit back into the fight, and just wait for him to have to commit back in.
Tent shield.
Spinning the collar.
If you on my right, leader and we're full flank.
Okay.
Watch your
I
right.
did ball with tent.
Right.
I got a big left.
Tent bubbling. Take on from left still. Power just doesn't miss shots, does he?
I was just trying to bomb, but I dropped shield with 2 health. I got picked off.
You gotta be a bit more, like, before you're using your bomb rush, you need to be a bit more aware of the other specials that you have. There were quite a few times where you were bomb rushing with no armor while you had armor up. Before you bomb rush, you'd always check what specials you have. If Muty has armor, you should ask for it before you start. Especially since that's one of the biggest strengths of your weapon is you can bomb rush with armor and just keep going and then shield yourself to keep yourself alive as you continue to bomb rush. You should always be calling for the armor before you start.
Sometimes it's hard to know where you are, what you're doing, because you could either go into a fight or not. It's kind of hard to tell. It's just back and forth a little bit, but...
Also, when the Dually Squelchers was back in your base, you should not have chased him. Calling out that he's in your spawn is bringing acknowledgement to the fact that he's out of position. Chasing him gives him a fight that he can take, where if you just leave him be and just be aware that he's behind, makes it to where he has to force himself into a bad spot, where he has to either come back into the fight from behind, where he's going to be outnumbered in the mid of the map. But chasing him into your spawn is just giving him a fight he can take, rather than forcing him into a fight he shouldn't take. Also, what's up, Rocket?
It's so hot. Can't take this anymore.
Welcome to Cali.
Yeah, I know. Been here for nearly 18 years.
So as it stands, especially because they have Pika playing in for Arashi, I'm letting them just pick whatever comp they're gonna play in, especially because Chara wants to just get back into the swing of playing Umbrellas. So I'm not giving them advice for comps to run. I'm just letting them pick what they want and then see how things go from there.
Half armor, but probably won't pick around. What's a Brella flank left? There's 2 flanking left. They're literally like all left. I got one of them.
Okay.
God.
She made aware that people were flanking, and there's a bunch of people near her, but nowhere at any point did she call for help. To the other people, it makes it just seem like she's just stating positioning, rather than actively being in a fight that she needs help with.
I'm just gonna paint for a special right now. It's kind of even.
One in the court, 3 in court.
They're bubble.
Flanked? Yeah, okay, shot got me. Court. Let's squeeze. Okay, so let's move
They're
right.
kind of holding. One dropped right already. It's Brella top mid. That's on me.
One's left, Brella. Alone.
He has no
His
shield.
shield's gone.
He's really
Bamboo's here on tree, protecting.
I got
Right?
Whatever.
Where'd Bamboo go?
I got it.
Okay, I don't think the armor was needed. They already had 2 down, no one was pushing.
Yeah. I'm gonna go back on bridge.
Near
So are you on bridge?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm on bridge.
Okay.
I'm gonna use some missiles.
I have bomber.
Well, okay.
Yes, missile.
Yeah, use on. Oh, I'm sorry for putting my missile on.
It's okay.
Nice, nice, well good.
On the hopping bubbles on bridge.
Yeah, he's on. Bubble user 1, got him.
Nice.
Okay, I'll touch
Okay,
it.
dead.
I'm painting his gun.
Yeah, I'm on it.
What the fuck was that? That was weird. They were.
Okay, the reasoning behind being player POV instead of overhead is simply to get a better understanding of what people are looking at and what they're doing. Overhead doesn't, like, it's good for watching positioning, but it's not as good as just watching POV from players to see their decision making and the fights they're planning to take and what they're actually looking into.
When we're pressuring them, then they'll panic special. So like when they're about to get special, like that's like a good time to like push them and like force them to use the specials.
Yeah, a lot of what you guys should be doing is doing reactionary specials if you're forcing them to use something just to have any form of map presence, then you need to be responding with your specials to continue, like to keep it. There's a lot of times where specials on your side were being used when they already lost a fight or weren't taking a fight. Like Muty used armor at one point when they already had 2 down and people were just painting their spawn to get specials. Things like that, especially armor. If they're waiting to push, armor should be purely used as a reactionary special to a push.
Yeah,
And
I thought of that as soon as you were saying that.
yeah, it's alright. It's just one of those things where you gotta be aware of what the enemy is, like the situation they're in, and stuff like that where there isn't even a push occurring. There's no sense in armoring. The only time you would want to use it is if somebody on the team is taking a fight with one of the few remaining people. And then stuff like having your bomb rush for their bubbles is really important, just because, I mean, most of the weapons you guys have do a good job at dealing with bubbles, except for the ink brush, obviously. But a bomb rush can outright just stop a bubble blower unless they have instant follow-up, which they aren't really doing either. Basically, exactly what you're saying. They use a lot of their specials as a panic, and you need to respond with reactionary specials rather than using it just to use it.
As long as their specials don't give value and we have zone, we're fine. That's like the only thing we need to deny because we already have position advantage. So we'll already win the fights if their specials don't get enough value. I'm gonna go like left side and try to see if they'll rush bridge again. And then
I'm starting right again.
if there's more opening. There's Umbrella far
There's
left.
2 on bridge. 2 in zone.
2 in 30, yeah. In the front I shot. Got him.
Behind bamboo. Oh, Umbrella's here. There's 2 of them shooting me. They're blood. They're first. I'm down.
I can help him pop back.
Oh, Umbrella, you're on
Yeah,
bridge.
I'm behind.
Big bridge.
Gets back up.
Okay. Pika made the right call in informing them they were going bridge. Mike just didn't hear it, I guess.
Oh, they popped
Oh.
bubbles.
Umbrella weak.
Got the Umbrella.
Nice.
Pushing on flat.
It's only
Pushing
here.
our court.
Maybe stall zone. Bamboo drop.
No, don't.
Drop.
A call like stall zone should never happen. Don't call for something like that.
Ramp. Circling ramp.
They're already down 2. A call like that should never be made.
Have missiles ready?
Keeping Muty alive is more important and towards building armor and just keeping at least some map control rather than risking it just for one or 2 points.
I'm circling zone. They're not watching it. Yeah.
King shot
What
weak
the
in
fuck?
zone.
Okay.
King shot weak in.
Fine, catch shot. Got him.
King in zone.
Probably
One on me,
still-
right side squeeze. I'm on him.
Okay.
I don't know. Nice.
Alright, this.
That squeezer just bamboo above me.
Gonna just bomb the bamboo.
Okay.
Okay, Chara sees a bamboo and is helping
Be careful,
Pika.
there's a lot of
I have armor,
Pika
let me
needs to
know
back
if
out.
you need it.
They're all spawning. He needs to bail out of that. Yeah, he should have.
Umbrella's bomb rushing.
I got 2.
Umbrella marked.
Probably bridge and right side. Be careful for Umbrella.
That was weak.
Umbrella's on the
Okay.
right.
I'm with Umbrella. He's in a bad spot.
Popping goals.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm
good.
getting
He's
out
calling
those
for
bubbles there.
assistance.
Shots weak.
Got the Umbrella.
Nice.
We have a pick. Be careful. We don't need to die right now.
One bridge.
That's the kind of call you need to make when instead of pressure point or stall point.
We're gonna go.
Oh, I didn't realize I was muted. Fuck. Oh, I meant to say, like, I guess I was muted, so you didn't hear. I meant to say, like, when I said they use bubbles in every situation, I didn't mean that, like, offensively. I just mean, like, they always use a bubble weapon.
I should have said use armor sooner rather than like armor. That wasn't specifying, and then I died because I was expecting it, which was my bad.
One
I just
thing.
didn't-
Use one special.
I just didn't I didn't expect you to drop because there was like someone under, so like I didn't want to armor for that because that just would have been a stupid like 2v1.
I mean, I just figured we had missiles, armor, bombers. Like even if there was someone down there, they weren't gonna win the fight if they challenged that. Like missiles on them, armor on.
I
me.
wasn't there with you. That's the thing. It was just
We're getting roofed for a 3rd time.
The kind of calls I want you to be more careful about making is ones that are stall point or just try to keep control of point. You made that call while already 2 down, and they had used specials to gain mid control. They had bridge, they had left tree, they were moving up right tree, and you made a call to just stall zone. Muty thankfully didn't do it. Just staying alive and building armor is more important than stalling for a couple points.
If they have to get lead, then that's fine. But
Same comp again. Get your right flank just to change it up.
they're going bridge.
Okay.
Yeah,
One's
I'm not
here.
gonna
Starting.
call that.
Squeeze on bridge.
Shot's low. He's like one.
Okay.
He's there. Yeah, we can push.
Bamboo
I
too as well.
have armor.
Shot's
No.
low.
Yeah.
On the wall next to you.
He's weak, he's weak, he's weak.
I. Oh, I got one.
Okay, now they need to.
I'm dropping right.
Okay.
I was worried about bombs on the shield. I didn't want to stay right.
I won't fault them for that. There's definitely a situation where Muty and Mike should have just bailed on that.
Yeah, they have bubbles. So
But I'm not gonna blame them because they were being pincered.
That's true.
I have to
Bamboo's
armor.
looking at me. Okay. Alright, there's a K shot.
Marlon's
still.
on our side, like bottom left.
I'm balling.
I'm in the zone right
I
now.
made K shot drop. I'm dropping and balling.
They're kind of just putting.
Check out. No one.
There's one here.
There's a bamboo on bridge still. We can't.
Mid, weak.
You can't really
Umbrella.
fight bamboos. Just,
Stalling right now.
just come back if you can. I'm painting for you.
I'm fist this guy.
Yeah, I just.
We can go bridge. We need
You just won. Damn,
Mhm.
never mind. Okay.
Bamboo's far right.
I'm just gonna paint
It's
right now.
K shot on bridge and Squeezer in the.
I have bomber.
No, now they're on bridge.
I have bombers on the umbrella and bamboo. Am I right?
I don't like that bomb rush.
Bamboo bridge.
On the top.
Much holes.
Yeah, careful.
One
I
from my
need to
side.
just save the armor.
I have baller.
Chara is not
Umbrella
close
on the
enough to
left side.
bomb rush to warrant saving it for that.
One on the right, bamboo.
I'm just pushing underneath. Flip.
I got
There's one.
Bella. There's just someone else on bridge.
I think there's someone on the left. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you have another one, so. I don't know where
Hmm.
K
Over
shot
there.
went. I feel
They're
like.
light too.
I'm bombers in your court.
Yeah, they were. Bridge.
One going on the wall.
Okay, good call. Mike needs to get out too. Oh.
Umbrella bridge. I got him. Two done. Had that
Bamboo on
bomb.
the left.
I'm just gonna paint.
Okay, this kind of situation, you know, it's 2v2. They don't need to be pushing zone. They just need to be painting it map.
I'm near baller.
They were behind in the 2v2. Chara has a bomb rush, so they can save armor for that.
One came up left side K shot.
Just two there.
Off the ball. Nice.
Umbrella got me. I got two. I got
Okay, he needs to, just saying armor doesn't convey what he wants. He needs to be a little bit more
He's at
careful about
lamp.
that. The response to him asking for armor was delayed and he died during bomb rush because of it.
I'm gonna hold on
I'm not in position.
I'm near my baller.
There's like three on the bridge. One of them's dead. One's dead. Just hold.
I love ball vine.
I'm painting our zone. Don't worry about
I'm
it.
holding.
Okay.
Bubbles on the
There's
right.
a Squeezer right here next to the bubbles. Just shot.
Alright.
Squeeze is weak. He's one hit.
Got it.
Okay.
Two by me, two by me. Umbrella.
Oh,
They're both.
they need to give space. Okay, Muty needs to get out now.
Focus shot.
I can't really.
Don't. Okay, yeah, she acknowledges that she can't take that fight.
I pulled our zone.
Okay,
Focus on our zone right now.
Bamboo in their part.
Squeeze out me left.
okay, she needs to back up.
Trying to paint her zone. Just
It's okay to give space and allow the team to neutral the zone,
Bamboo.
You on me? Help me on bridge.
especially when you're playing armor, an armor weapon. Your life is more vital.
Oh, I stood in front of it's literally just probably try to not work out.
This whole zone. They're gonna go for a push. I'm gonna miss
Yeah,
it.
they can do it.
I kind of like choked. I didn't really know where to go. Point.
So you
I
can,
just
I
have
can
to
come and help you when I can. And I hit things.
I think you need to find something better to say than just armor when you want armor. Yeah, you at one point you died because I guess she didn't hear you or she didn't quite understand it because you called for armor, started using your bomb rush, and then she used it 2 seconds later and you died because of it. So saying something just armor doesn't convey enough to really like. It's not enough that makes her go, okay, yeah, this is armor is what he wants the armor now. You should be something like armor now or go armor or use armor. Just just something that conveys more of what you're trying to get across. And then I would say there's a lot anytime that the zones are in a neutral state where the enemy has more up, it is okay to let them neutralize zones. It is okay to let them cap the zones. You don't need to force the points and to stay in there if you're down numbers, or even if they're down numbers. If they're painting zones, it's okay to let it be neutral for a minute. Just don't try and force into a fight, especially in a map like Reef where it's split in half like that. Trying to just neutral or try to keep control of zones by just pushing to their side can make it to where while they only have 3, you put yourself against the 3 that they still have. So just allowing neutral and allowing caps to happen are fine sometimes.
Switch to
I might try to flank left and go glass. And do umbrella run.
if we get a pick, we can definitely
I'm
try.
gonna.
Do them bomb.
They're all
Are they going right side?
charges above.
I'm gonna.
I feel like
tell me
that's
right.
a big point that a lot of people, a lot of players need to understand is that it is perfectly okay to lose the point sometimes.
Nice.
There's nothing, even like when it comes to losing the lead, sometimes it's okay to lose the lead. As long as you are able to get yourself in a better position, there's nothing wrong with losing the lead.
Peter top down. Zolan, find pillow.
Get out.
He's doubling.
No, it's fine, honestly. I
Went
got
past Peter.
umbrella.
So behind K shot, top right.
I got the
Oh,
ball.
nice.
K shot looking at me. Glass.
I don't know
K
what
shot that
he tried to achieve those bubble with that bubble
Yeah,
blower.
so charger.
Oh, actually, think of,
Got Barella. 2 got me out of spawn. They're going right side. Watching curl.
I'm close to bomb right now. I'm trying to get it real quick.
I don't have armor. I won't have armor actually.
Charger, bomb
I'm
rush.
getting top right while Pika comes back. They're going
Okay.
top.
They're trying to.
They're missing. I got 30.
Careful,
Mike is aware of positioning but isn't calling for it.
Hitting over them.
Push K shot, got him.
Nice. I'm trying to pay.
Behind left side. I got Barella.
I'm dead to squeezer left.
Okay.
Help painting zone.
I'm fine.
Okay. Pika needs to back out. His baller needs to get out. He doesn't need to take fights. He doesn't need to get kills.
Oh, they're not rushing anymore.
That's it, nice.
That one.
Oh, rushing you.
Squeezer's
I'm
in mid.
out of ink.
Oh, he's
Charger.
still with me.
He's not. Oh wait, what?
Squeezer.
Double right.
You back to the zone. Barrel's also there.
You're by yourself, bro.
I'm dropping on Barella.
I got squeezer. I'm just
Okay.
gonna go on.
Behind him.
Nice.
Charger's still last. Where's the last one?
Okay, he recognizes the bomb rush was unneeded.
I have this
He's bomb rushing from glass.
Back, I can't really help you.
Mike needs to back up now.
watching me.
He doesn't need it. The charger is aware of him. He even calls out that the
Charger
charger's aware of
drops.
him and needs to not try to take a fight.
Squeezer's one shot.
Oh, the shot got me. On the right.
Squeezer's moving right side.
He's pushing. He's going our glass.
Yeah, the charger's covering, so I can't.
Oh, I shouldn't have fought that.
You're gonna go
Yeah,
top.
one's up glass, Barella.
Missile
2.
on me.
Last one's K shot. It's in court.
Sweet.
Got him.
Dead.
I'm gonna bomber some off top.
I have this as well.
Bait it. There's umbrella, there's umbrella, there's still
Yeah.
umbrella.
I'm behind
The
charger.
bomb rush should not have been
Got
used
charger, got
that
charger.
way.
Just
We
bro.
can push them. We can push them.
I'm already on him.
I'm not fighting Umbrella. Oh,
Where?
nice.
Oh.
He's behind
Nice.
us. He's got me.
He's dead.
Nice.
Careful
Get
shot on
trigger.
me.
We're only 2 up right now.
It's just shot.
Squeezer
Just-
also shooting me.
Just hold space. Don't push up.
Shot low.
Charger top right watching you.
Charger stop right
I'm
side.
gonna get out the buffer.
Charger looking at me. I have baller.
I have missiles. We have 4 specials.
One's right side. Squeezer. Got Squeezer. I'm popping baller.
Okay.
They put a lot of missiles on me. I'm
I got shredded. I killed Barella.
Charger's top, looking at me.
Where's Fish shot?
He's behind.
Huh?
He's like on there.
Yeah, he's on me. K shot.
Charger
Charger got
is
me.
top right. He got me.
I can't fight this.
Okay, now she needs to be giving space.
Brella got me. I treated with Squeezer. Just
Okay.
middle. They're both coming from middle. Both shooter and shot and Brella. Right side,
Okay.
Brella.
Yeah.
Be
Brella.
careful.
If I was missiling, I was pushing him while I was missing. Got him.
Nice pick.
Nice.
Left armor missile. I'll paint them from above. Paint
Tetsu
There's
should be
someone
calling
bottom
up.
right.
I'm balling. Push my squeezer. Towards.
Yeah,
The
Brella's
umbrella.
still right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to push him with me?
Okay.
I'll let
Oh,
Bringing their spawn. Charger looking at me.
Shot's weak.
armor shot.
Feelings?
Okay.
I'm stalling.
Umbrella probably. can go.
Pika's pretty in there.
I'm behind. Charger.
I'm still umbrella.
Got charger. There's a jumper.
Let's just get them.
Oh,
Jumper's one. The last.
They still have one more bubble.
On the right.
Cool.
Yeah, be careful.
He's a shark in top right case, bro. Nice cap.
I don't know where he is.
Chara pushing up alone.
Yeah.
Nice. One drop
He
mid.
should
One
not
shot, good shot.
continue. He's too weak
Left,
to.
left.
I'll have Charger down. Charger's above. Painting zone. Be careful. We can just reach the full more push. I don't
Yeah.
think I'll have bombers for it though.
I have missiles ready.
I have.
No.
Yeah.
Wait.
Wait for another special and then we can
Yeah, they're not close to painting specials, but
Okay, so
it's
it's like,
okay.
look at me.
They have enough time to
Yeah, so
build
there's two of
them.
them left. Two of them left. I got one.
That's what bombers. We can just play this patient.
I'm on Brella. I killed Brella. Two down.
Bomber machine zone.
Charger's
Got
bomber machine last one. Nice.
Okay. So like I said before, it's not really my position to tell Pika whether or not he's doing something well or not.
playing look in the hold for like after playing rapid so long, like doing aggro pushes. I have to get like used to kill and dip or kill and move.
I
somehow.
finally got in. It only took however many games this Scrim has been.
Okay, the calling for armor with bomb rush was done much better. There was quite a few pushes, Charlotte, that you did alone that I don't understand. If you plan to flank or watch flanks, you shouldn't continue to invest into them, especially after you've taken way too much damage. Like near the end when you killed Keen, like you survived a brush or a Brella 1v1, but your health was way too low to even continue to invest into their spawn. Where
Yeah, gone for power there. I should have just painted around or gone back to zone.
yeah, you shouldn't have, yeah. Especially when you barely survive a fight like that, and you know absolutely 100% that Keen is saying, "Oh, Brella's coming up. He's really weak." Power probably like tap shotted you.
Yeah, he just partial charge. I think.
Yeah, calling for specials is good. When you at the end when you said that you're not gonna have bomb rush in time for the cap, saying something like that is perfectly fine. It's the points they had like 30 something more points to go, so you had time to build it. But saying like I don't have it at this time and I won't have it for a bit, that's the kind of call that should be made. A sort of just wait, buy time, give up some space if needed, just paint. We're almost at the specials we need to move.
The first two specials stalled enough for me to get it. I forget Brella gets bomber stupid fast anyway.
I don't want to play this map.
nobody does.
It's alright, Muty.
Yeah, that-
No
that's what
worries.
gets the loot is coming out.
Yeah, for those that aren't aware, I'm muting between matches, obviously, to not. I'm not
Oh,
saying
God.
anything to
Yeah.
them other than after
Gosh.
matches.
I have familiar
All the commentary you're hearing me make is purely to
Oh,
myself.
no, I don't. No, thank you.
Just expect wax. I need to try to figure
Huh?
out.
This one might be tricky for their comp.
You leader watching me on their snake.
Brella trying to go right.
Let me know. Actually, I should probably stay
Two
safe.
on the left.
Still
You
cautious.
leader got me.
The Kensa Luna is definitely an interesting call as well.
Let's go on the left
They
side.
were trying to get sniped. Yeah.
Yeah, there's one on the wall.
I got one.
I,
Nice. Charger's beat up a bit. He's ready for it.
Mhm.
oh my god, I can't.
Still?
Sorry,
I got him.
Okay.
You could jump to me and I'll armor.
Okay, they need to just keep their old.
Wait, not yet, not yet.
No, I'm just doing
Oh.
it because I'm a speeder and need to get in the position.
Okay, armor like that should.
They dropped right side, try.
She justifies it by trying to
You're
get
bubbling
position,
under snipe.
which is
bubble under snipe actually.
okay. Like, there's some justification to be made there, but armor is such a vital special that trying to use it just to get positioning is not a worthwhile use.
I'll use Overlook. I'm gonna bomb.
I am right behind you.
Bomb here.
Okay.
I got try.
Yes,
Okay.
build. Okay, shots on our snipe. Weak.
He calls for help
Down.
to
Also
fight
Storm.
to make it a 1v2
have
or
armor.
2v1
Storm.
and
Okay.
still
down
invests
already.
his special.
To the right, I'm getting ready. Oh, leader's looking.
One's still our sneaky. The other one's bottom. The other one is snipe.
Sweet.
Nice, nice.
Okay.
Leader. He's one.
Shit's leader. Yeah. He's going there overload.
Overlook. Got it.
There's. No,
Jumper.
there's jumps there.
I have bomb.
I need to get some. I'll try to go their side.
Oh, leader got me. Wow.
We're one there.
One drop down left side. Two drop left. Two drop left.
I'm just gonna bomb just on the left side. Wait for.
Leader storm.
I got one.
Nice.
One
They're
going
gonna
our
go.
snipe.
Turn around or
Hard
first?
snipe?
Almost.
Yeah,
Yeah. Snipe.
trying our snipe.
Oh. Got K shot.
Nice.
Close to another armor already.
That's going right.
I was
need to
not
use
near
it.
bomb
Hold on,
rush.
hold
Oh,
Fine.
okay.
Good.
Just so it worked out.
What?
Put me on leader.
Okay. I was later snipe.
Throw my left mid.
The main issue is this comp
They're bubbling
has
from far
nothing to contest power.
Try drop.
Okay.
They kind of, if they want to contest power, Pika needs to be the one that's just constantly trying to pressure him. And his build doesn't really suit that sort of play either.
Oh, above me, above me. He's low, he's low.
I got
Nice.
him. Yeah, we're kind of.
One to the left.
We gotta commit. We
Thanks,
gotta
overtime.
get like a full push. We're just not getting.
Yeah,
Let's switch our breath right here.
on this side. We have armor and range. We can push with that.
Okay.
Are you close to missile?
Oh, sure.
I'm halfway.
Try to touch it right.
Armor too.
I'm gonna storm mid.
Okay.
Get something going. They're going up snipe to one wall and wall the snipe.
Wait, do we have missiles going? Oh my
Wait,
god.
I got me.
I did not want to pop that.
The problem is they're heavily investing specials into fights or into pushes they aren't even taking. They're staggering their specials out and not even pushing with any of them. Most of the specials are being used to try and win fights,
Got one.
but no push being made in any of them.
Got him. There's another one in the bubble.
We get that once. Got two.
Nice.
Okay,
Oh,
they
wait,
wiped.
We need to get their attic, or, yeah, overlook.
I have missiles ready.
Okay.
Mike should ideally be saving the missiles for when they start to push so he can call out where they're moving.
Go fizzy up there.
I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna get out.
Okay, good call.
I'll fizzy overlook if any.
It's fine. It's fine. Just spam them and wait for specials because I'm gonna have armor.
I have a storm. I'm backing up so they can get me. I'm storming left now, trying to keep zone.
I'm gonna missile two on the left.
We just need to keep.
We
Keep
can
pressing.
for lead. We're about to get lead.
Yep. Got lead.
One at snipe.
Okay. And now there's nothing wrong with losing position.
Two left side. Two
Give
left
space. There's nothing wrong with it.
And our snipes goes in.
Okay.
They're two on snipe. They're going overlook. Oh, squeezer fell.
side. Let's go.
We could try to push like relatively fast.
Pretty sure there's a. Yeah, there's a.
They almost have Storm. They can push with armor and Storm.
Oh, that bomb.
Oh.
That's so sad.
Okay, now they can hold off, maybe build the bomb rush in time as well. Allowing them, may the call to allow for them to get lead.
Yeah, I was gonna do it.
Right. He's on the right. He's on the right. I don't have push. I jumped on the rail.
I hate
Or
this.
anything that game.
I shouldn't have jumped off. I should have just like squid it off so I didn't jump up in the air and get.
It kind of felt like I was arming too early, but like not really, because they have a leader and we kind of need that for it.
If the armor like before I get to zone, then I just can't like be aggro enough with the like. I feels like sometimes usually like half the duration was used on me before I even got to.
Alright, the big problem is something you guys already stated. You're staggering your specials and never using them for a push. Way too many specials are being used as with the justification of getting space or trying to win fights. There was a fight in your overlook where Chara asked for help, which is the correct call, to help take someone out that's in a key spot. But after asking for help, you still invested your special. And Bomb Rush should not just should not be used just to win one fight like that. The amount of specials that were invested for nothing was pretty high. The amount of staggered specials was pretty high. The amount of investing into lost fights was pretty high. Anytime that you're down numbers, especially in zones, something especially like a bomb rush or an armor should not be invested at all. Even if you have to die, that's fine. It's something you can just get back. It's not too difficult. But investing into a losing fight is how you end up with these staggered specials, and you end up not being able to push with anything. And then this isn't real. I mean, I feel bad because honestly, it's not my right or I'm not in a position to say this. But the one of the big problems with that comp or that map was especially Power playing E-Leader. And the only one in that comp that you guys had that could do anything about him was Pika just being in his face constantly, which you had a build. I mean, I can only see the mains, but obviously your build wasn't tailored towards face rushing, and
4 feet of sub power.
yeah,
Oh, he's made him saber. So yeah, we need
I
to
have E-Leader range fizzy bombs.
deal with the charger on Moray is kind of a throw. Admittedly, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, if we can barely get past mid, I have no reason to throw my body like towards power, like 20 places further back. Might as well just fizzy mid and actually be with the team.
yeah. I'm just saying, like with the comp,
Throw my
that's
body at him.
yeah.
But if you're looting, you're really far back, and it just most of the time isn't really too worth it. Especially in a map like that, where we already have bamboo. I'm gonna go right side.
Okay.
Watching me.
There's already like.
Downward from left
Okay.
side.
Yeah, just watch
One
out.
left side.
Yeah,
They're switching the street. Broke 1 armor.
Oh, loaded me.
Got one.
Nice.
Baby got me.
You.
Nice. Okay, they are aware of him.
Happens again.
Almost have missiles.
we can just go with missile armor bomber.
Oh my god, I almost fell through. Okay.
I have missiles.
I still have storm.
One on the left side. Let's
I have
go.
armor.
Okay.
Two.
Storming mid.
It's like, okay. There's one like
Okay,
in the zone.
Mike started out this scrim calling out the missile
Maybe
targets,
Got Zap.
and now he's
Two on the right.
not doing it as often.
Souls.
My bad, I should have just been zone.
The bomb. Queen zone.
We need another
I
angle.
tried missling already.
Squeeze.
Bamboo's on the far right.
You can walk me left side. Nothing
Okay.
bad.
Nice.
He calls for help,
Nice.
but no one's in a position to assist. He manages to win the fights anyway.
He just crossed over left
Okay, now they need to push up their street as much as possible.
I have
Storm.
armor, so.
So they need to hold these specials purely for reactionary use.
Specials.
Stop trying to fight me.
There we go.
Somewhere on
Calls
the
to
wall.
force specials.
Alright.
Yeah, help me with a shot, help me with a shot.
Okay.
Storming left.
Okay.
Nice trade.
Two on
Did
the left,
he...
one
Okay,
on
he
the
did
left,
not invest his bomb rush. Okay.
One next to the block.
Squeeze.
Power.
Right, one on the right, push right, push right.
Oh, the one shot. Nice.
That's
Okay.
fine. Good trade, I'll
These are coming straight.
just wait it out right now, stall for us.
Okay, they almost have bomb rush again for the
One
reactionary.
left.
Okay, he needs to just hold it. Missiles aren't initiating.
Another one crossed over left side.
Okay,
Good shot.
now he needs to
Wait
bomb
out, wait
rush.
out the missiles. I got one.
He does just me.
God.
Yeah, he
Nope.
got me, got me.
Trees are on the left.
They're armored. Two.
Where's Chara going?
Three in zone.
Okay, they almost have bomb rush again. Beauty can get armor in time.
Yeah, just
Okay.
jump out.
He lives with storm. One zone.
I can
They're
bomb
aware
rush
of
you guys
Mike's
and then we come
Storming
position.
mid.
I don't think they know where Chara is. Yeah, they have no idea where he is. So this positioning is incredibly risky.
down.
He's
Take a shot once, right?
much like what I mentioned earlier with Hotel. Chara's the one out of
Yes, I heard.
position now,
Just
and they
right.
don't. Even though they had no idea where he was,
I
it makes literally no difference.
I could get to the.
It just so
Oh,
happened that it worked out. The whole pushing in, like being forced to push into a situation you shouldn't have,
They're top
it
left.
worked out for him.
Zap is weak.
Armor up.
He backed up.
I mean, like, they used two
Another one left side.
Okay,
Just, like,
You back up, back up, back up.
okay,
Two
there's
left, two left, two left.
missling.
Missiled.
Mhm.
They're in their zone.
Okay,
Hit two once. Got one.
armor. I'm
They-
really
Got two.
Oh.
Hyper zone.
close.
Left shoot, left shoot.
He's weak.
Not on snipe.
That's a nice.
It's fine.
I'm on their snipe right now. I'm gonna back up. Caught above me.
Me too.
I have missiles.
Hmm.
I'm gonna wait.
They aren't gonna have any. I mean, yeah, he could missile it for their armor push, but
Yeah, that's what I was
there aren't gonna be anything else to contest. They can storm the point,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
to help fight it. But
Bamboos firing us.
I'm storming left. There's 2 over there pushing.
okay,
They're armored and missiled.
Get a flank from
There's 3 on the left.
It's
Yep.
all
Three on the left.
Got one.
okay. Now he's
Push
back
the
to
shit
calling out his missiles.
I got
Good,
twice.
good.
We can hold
They have the
Actually, shoot, shoot, shoot.
advantage.
First street. First street.
Yeah, yeah, they just have to approach us.
Okay, thank you.
Nice panic missiles.
Bro, I like got
Nice.
power just jumps off the map instead of letting me kill him sometimes.
That flank, by the way, should not have worked. That
The
the
very end one.
yeah, your bomb rush from behind. That was the exact example that I provided earlier in Hotel, where you are on the other end of that. The only difference is they had no idea you were there. Where you technically are out of position by being behind and in their spawn, turned into something that was useful, and then also power committed suicide.
Also, I just felt like they were committed like behind their zone, and the zone is really small. So if I just go up there and bomb rush, then they have like no space because we're pushing the front, and I'm not in any position where they can kill me. Like if there wasn't anyone on snipe, then there was nothing that could threaten me. Like I could just safely. I just wanted to like give space behind zone so we could play the distance fight since we have like fizzy spam and bamboo.
Yeah, and the literal only thing on their comp that can contest you from up there is power on the bamboo, and all you have to do is just back up slightly, and your bomb rush is still just as effective.
I just shield and hold the S key down, and we're good.
Alright.
You guys are also getting progressively better about using your specials purely reactionary.
By the way, are we doing the thing here?
I don't know.
Will I be
man.
sent to
I
hell
think
if
that
I
was
play
a.
this?
I think that was a one-time gig, to be honest.
Yeah, it was a one-time thing.
One
If
time.
I
Oh,
play
no.
this, will I be sent to hell or is this okay? Because it's camp.
Oh, you could use it.
Even
that's-
Japan does
can
this,
try
I'm
it.
down.
Come up with the best strats, dude. You have no
yes, Japan.
double Luna on humpback, double explode Luna here.
Oh, are you gonna go rapid here?
Well, this is a map where I'd probably never do Reg Brello, so.
Also,
Okay,
if
so if you're
people
yeah,
that are
so
watching the
if you
stream,
don't do rapid,
if
probably
they are
would,
too
like,
loud or too quiet, let me know.
long range thing.
Obviously, the intent is that I'm louder than them, but if they're too loud comparison to me or too quiet, let me know.
I mean, he usually, like, the last scrims, he kept going bamboo on, Albacore, so I kind of have a feeling he's gonna change
I'm
now.
just thinking, me and Tetsu play middle, you two play right, because you can just play around blob.
Wait,
like
so you want me? So you want me on our side then?
Well, I mean, Pika's gonna go right, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I want to go right.
Oh,
Because I don't know where else you'd go with blob.
So I go
Yeah,
right.
you always go right.
We can do either one. Tetsu, do you want to go right or middle?
I can go mid. That's fine.
Okay, so me and Pika.
And then I
are
think they're talking about the double
Yeah,
explo
just play around the
comp
spam
that they have.
bombs and then-
Okay, I could just paint like the right side anyway, but I should probably.
Can't kill Pika, he just plays around.
Actually.
The tent won't push you to. So the tent
Okay, I'll try adjusting it a bit after this one.
Whichever way the tent.
No, not double
Yeah, it's
explo.
probably gonna go our
Okay.
side, so that's fine.
Usually.
Sponge. I got it. Bamboo's on the gray.
Go on their green. Yeah.
Up on the wall, Mark.
I'm half.
Oh, we're on top of the wall.
Oh, nice short action.
You can still
Sorry.
Do you,
make
you guys need armor?
Dead, dead.
No. Oh,
Jump over Bamboo.
okay. Now armor should not. Oh, yeah. Don't invest armor now.
The map now.
Taylor often like climbs the wall and shoots someone.
Yeah.
Nice.
Go, like,
Yeah. Oh.
So I think Chara
The reason why I
should
like blob
stay
here,
up
okay?
here. They can't. The only thing that can I mean, the. Well, technically, the bamboo, the pro, and the squeezer can
I
contest
just see them
him,
like backing up. Kinda.
It's funny.
but he is in such an advantaged position. I don't think he needs to move.
Bamboo's one shot.
Got him.
That's so annoying. What the fuck?
I'm bobbing over now. I'm out of ink. Hold it.
Tent
Yeah,
low.
hold-
Break shield, break
What?
shield.
Front, actually.
He's inside the bubble.
I won twice.
Oh,
Oh,
up.
advanced
You,
pushing. Okay.
The Mike
Yeah.
needs to back up.
They're above again.
just be patient. I'm trying to like
squeeze
help
this
you guys out.
Oh,
Okay,
nice.
you're good.
That's being crap.
Pros over the wall.
I'm
Oh.
weak. Yeah,
I-
nice. It's bamboo.
He backed up. I'm not fighting that.
This is
Okay.
be safe for jumps.
Oh,
Coming from the right.
they're missing. So.
Or on the left, I mean.
Oh, we're going for it anyway. Oh, I jumped to the wrong person, so.
I can't hit him.
It's annoying.
Would you look at that? Enough not
Wow,
if
man.
did something
It's
because
just
it was
like-
thought about. That's a crazy concept.
I was just like peeking over the wall, like on the block that's in zone, and I just saw them like.
I just like Explode plus Bamboo. I really like Explode plus Bamboo on our zone. That's so fucking strong. Like, how do they push that?
Okay, I
How
upped
do you
him a little
actually
bit.
Explode Bamboo without a ray.
I could have killed the tent from like the other side if I threw my bomb properly, but I didn't. Would have ended your sufferings. Oh.
Okay, that worked to an unreasonable level. They technically had 3 weapons that in theory could contest the Explo, but never had a position to actually do it.
I mean,
By
if
having
you have
m-
to go anywhere, it can be contested. They can just sit behind a wall. They can sit on
Expo above this map is this unreasonably broken.
the only way they could theoretically challenge the Explo was being in zone, but by getting into zone, they're facing the Explo and the Bamboo, both of which can shut down most weapons that they had instantly.
Yeah.
That's
I'd say
insane.
Okay.
Okay.
Just be careful with Taylor on the wall. He likes to go behind the wall and just like jump people. So.
I should
Yeah.
go orange and
I'll lead with the wall this time.
The pros going on the wall.
So
like,
Power
you're
has the
getting
same rollout.
Doing the same thing again.
Bamboo's just gonna be really aggressive.
Okay.
got armor.
Now they're forcing themselves into a
They're going up.
position.
They're going up. I can help.
Right.
Got one. The
Pro
other
wall
one.
again.
Got
See, that was
This is-
if I was
Should I shoot a roll
coaching
deal?
them, that would to
you
say
shoot
that
that
that sort of strat they need
I don't know.
their
Radius.
the best case
Still
scenario for them
mine.
to deal
Pick the-
with the
pick
Expo and
Gami.
Bamboo and point like that is to force themselves before you have position. But being in a position before they're able to actually push
Do you need a jump? Oh.
makes
I'll
it
jump.
exceptionally
Here,
harder
I'm bubbling
for
behind
them
the
to
bandage,
actually do
just
anything
pressure.
about it.
Just give him a bubble, sweetie.
Beauty needs to be calling for. Well, I think she's
I can't
fine.
see
Never
him
mind.
with- Okay.
And it's on the zone. They're playing
Giving
3
slash
on
roll.
Right, and Pika's
Okay,
here
Pistol
now.
gun. Hit twice.
Holy shit.
They're bubbling. Baloney.
This is- Yeah, flex levels.
Throw on me right now.
I'm gonna come help. Just wait. They're gonna try and take over
Panda's on the wall.
each side. They're sending
Oh shit.
Bring up bump.
I got bro.
My bad.
Damn.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm
they
gonna
pop
cover.
bubbles over here. Careful.
We're both on our side. They're missing.
back up.
Okay.
back up.
Now would be a good time to give
Missiles
space.
mid.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Oh,
I'm painting.
Get me up here. They're just splitting.
Giving
3
slash roll.
each time, so
Slash
just
levels.
for it.
Okay.
I got one on armor for
they're
that.
in our zone.
Hit bamboo twice.
Surprise.
I'm storming this maybe.
Jumped out.
He's one.
Nice.
But where's
They're going left. Tent's going left.
okay.
I
I'm just
think you're ready.
slash
Just use the bubble.
Oh, got that bomb.
I almost have missiles.
Okay. You have room. Just stall. If you need help, let me know. I'm gonna help you for now.
There's one on the wall.
One's
yeah.
one shot up there.
Yeah, yeah.
Two
one?
coming for me. The bamboo.
I don't know.
Pro's one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay, I see.
He needs to call for help, not just saying
Got him.
they're coming.
Nice. Thank you.
There's two coming from the left. Yeah.
I'm going back on
I
the
want
wall.
to.
Especially when Chara says to ask, to let him know when he needs help. He needs to actually say the words,
Thank you.
"Help me on elbow," or "Two on me on elbow, come help,"
That
or
bomb.
"I need help on elbow," just anything whatsoever that conveys that he needs assistance.
Nice, cool.
Yeah. If I need help, I'll tell you.
You need a
Okay.
jump. Bubbling.
Putting bubbles in front of you. Get out
I
of there.
think they're over the wall again. I'm not sure. I'm gonna back up just in case.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Be
there's no
careful.
bombs.
Yeah, they're over the wall. The
Pro drop down.
shot.
Squeezer. Which one?
Haze missiles.
Squeezer fell off.
I got the pro.
Nice.
Careful, right? Missiles like right.
Oh,
Maybe turn on me. Oh, you got me.
One
Also-
dead. Careful.
Watch out for bamboo.
Keep pressure. The pressure. The ten's gonna move forward.
Oh, bamboo weak.
Yeah.
I got.
Tent's behind.
Careful.
go.
I'm gonna get on the wall.
Careful. They have our zone.
I
Good trade,
traded.
good trade. I'll be right side. Yes,
I'm
sir.
trying to hold our zone. I'm trying to hold our.
I can paint those.
There's jumps, a lot of them.
Traded bamboo.
I put bubbles up.
Nice.
Sorry. I kept dying there.
Oh, wow.
Bombs.
Play this again. Please don't replay this again. I don't want to play this again. I hate this map.
Imagine
this
hating
map.
camp, dude.
Player.
I like this map because it's freaking jank, dude.
No, it's literally just slosh. And if
It's only here that you'll see this kind of comp.
Let's go.
The pairing of the Expo and Bamboo, and then the Blob and n-zap. Oh,
Are they done?
I think they're done.